Thank you. All right. You all please rise for a moment for a brief prayer, and then we're going to do the pledge of allegiance.
But that is not what tonight is about. Tonight is we need to come up with solutions when it comes to education, when it comes to poverty, when it comes to black-on-black crime.
They're acting on what they've already been told. Communities across the country experience horizontal violence. White people do bad things to white people, Latino people do bad things to Latino people, Asian people do bad things to Asian people. That is purely a function of segregation of housing. So if communities live together, the place that you're going to experience violence is in your community. But I have never heard the term white on white crime. And so I get a little frustrated when we have this because kids are living out the reality that they've been told since they were young, that these are the only foregone conclusions that they have to experience.
I don't need these officers sitting in the back here telling you that your children need to be home. The question to you is dark, where are your children?
All right.
You answer that question.
For that, it's just communication. A lot of times we just assume and we don't really talk to people. And when we make judgments based upon our bad data. And so I think maybe communication and really understanding what the purpose of the gang is and seeing how we can repurpose.
Okay. I think the whole problem is economic. I think if black people don't have their own businesses, commerce in our own community, because right now you can't even find a black corner store. Everybody else owns everything in the black community. So if we're gonna do something about crime, if we're gonna do something about police violence, we gotta have control over our own economics. The city got the ability to give millions of dollars into black businesses, but they're trying to do appeal. So it seems to me that resources from the city and the infusion of capital that can create black businesses, so our children can see people who are in business and say, I can do that too. You gotta have somebody who you can say, well, they did it before I did it, I can do it. And that means having resources in this community, and that's what we don't have. We just get more police. We don't get the resources, unless they come out lighting us up. So I say we need economic development in the black community. We need to be in control of that. Black people with black businesses.
Very quick comments. This gentleman was just talking about too much money being spent on buildings, and part of what we're trying to do with the CRA is to change the way we've been doing things forever, which is we spend a lot of money on buildings, we spend a lot of money on landscaping, everything that makes it look nice, but we're not investing in people. Absolutely. And so what we're trying to do differently is to start investing in people. We've, in this year's budget, invested more money than I think we've ever invested as a city in jobs, particularly aimed at our kids, to give them that chance that we were talking about. Investing in the Tampa Bay Black Business Investment Corporation, which will then invest in those startup businesses. If you're trying to start up a business, we've got the Greenhouse, which is there to teach you how to start your business, how to be successful in your business so that you can start a business, own that business, and have it be successful. Here's a piece that everybody forgets. We got to support those businesses once they open.
Nobody cares about these kids. They being left behind. That's what it starts at, right there, because those kids don't have no supervision from here to 22nd. And then I want to know, I done started a petition because we taxpayers, and this same bus that is not even full goes to Campbell's Park, and we got
has a walking school bus, and they have several walking school buses, and that is supervised by parent volunteers who come. They have their route of students, and they walk to school every day, and they pick them up from school and walk them back home. As for the specifics about Route 908, I don't know. 908. Right, I'm not certain about that. I can check into it.
So when you have people that are oppressed and then you're dealing with poverty, you're going to have violence because that makes a lot of tension. So the only way that we're going to be able to make sure that we can be supportive support it like we need to do to be able to get our mind back, we're gonna have to control our own economics. We're gonna have to take our money and our future into our own destiny.
Who gives the officers authority? It's not the community. Who creates the laws, the rules? It's not the community. So when you're talking about law enforcement, you're talking about state-sanctioned type of rules that the community had no conversation or no democratic way of saying, okay, we want the curfew and we want the curfew to be this, or we don't want the curfew. We want the police in our community. Why do the police just come into the community when nobody's called them? The firefighters don't come into the community when there's no fire, looking for a fire. The ambulance doesn't come into the community looking for somebody that's sick. They come when we call them. So why is it that I take, this is my son. So why is it I take my son to the park and there's police officers there looking for somebody to go in? Oh, somebody's gonna do something. I just know somebody's gonna do something. Waiting for somebody to do something. The community needs to control the police, not the police controlling the community. We're the ones that need to set the terms. We're the ones that need to be saying that this is how we want our community to be structured and to be organized according to what we need. Instead of having the police telling us, well, this is what you're going to do because we have the authority.
Hi, how are you doing today? What can we do to make this community safer and better for you? We're not there looking to arrest anyone, and you're right, that was the old way of doing policing. The new way of doing policing now is, what can we do together to get rid of those 2% that are causing us all these problems?
SAPE is not unique in this moment. And with all due respect to law enforcement, we are in a moment where the criminal justice system nationally, there's a conversation about how to fix what's clearly been broken. The reality is you all as officers have inherited a really crappy situation and a set of policies that have incentivized keeping poor people poor and in prison. And we have to getting reaction from folks, it's not to say that there aren't necessities around keeping people safe, keeping people protected. When somebody kills, steals from you, you want that to be accounted for. But we also know that that is not what got us 1.7 million people in prison at any given time. And the majority of people who are in prison aren't drug dealers, aren't the people who are killing and robbing folks. They're there for low-level drug offenses. And so now you've got a paranoia that's always going to proliferate that. I'm glad we have an hour of park, walk, and talk, but an hour isn't going to build trust. It's like this is a 40-hour work week, and you're saying less than a quarter of your time is spent actually getting to know people.
To start that initial conversation. And by us sitting in these cars, driving around, because I totally agree with what you're saying. The only time you saw a police officer come in your neighborhood when there was a problem. We come into your neighborhood, we take somebody to jail, and then we leave. You never see us again. No more. I'll tell you that right now. We're coming into your neighborhood so we can learn about issues in your neighborhood, get to know each other, because you're right. That 1 hour a week, not going to cut it. If we don't work together, we're never going to solve this problem. So it's a problem we've got to solve together.
Another problem that I see is that the faculty and staff don't reflect the community. Like
it's not just the teacher being black sticking in front of those students, because we do have some black teachers in front of students and they're still not connected. But it's how do you look at what that student's need is and learn to combine that social need, that emotional need with educational standards. Yes, teachers are teaching what the state expects.
We want our students to participate in very productive groups. Our task as a community, and certainly as a school district, is to provide some very highly productive activities for students, whether it be a chess club or whether it be a math league or whatever it is.
Well, you have an opportunity to opt out and go somewhere else. If I wanted to opt out and go somewhere else, that's where I'll be. I'm at Kimball Park for a reason. So it's not that I want to leave and opt out, because I understand what they, all of the things that she mentioned as far as caring and what they, those aspects. But what is it? What can we do in the meantime until those efforts come to fruition?
Or give them a chance to respond to that.
When 3 years ago, we used to have about a 70% turnover rate in some of the schools in St. Petersburg. That retention rate is up over 85%. So we're keeping teachers there. Some of the methods that we're doing right now is where we're providing them signing bonuses. We're also providing them additional performance funds so that teachers can make $10,000, $15,000 additional each and every year by staying there, by performing well, because it's all about the children. So when I say signing bonuses, it's a recruitment. So we're going after some of the most highly effective teachers, not only in the county, but throughout. We want great teachers teaching students, especially some of
What about their training on helping children that have social, emotional issues and are diseased from the community? Because we're geographically, economically depressed.
One of the
What
things,
about teachers that have training in that? The signing bonus won't give the teacher training in. Training these teachers.
I think we're getting, ma'am, I think we're getting a little bit too heated. Listen,
That's the answer.
I want to give a teacher right here.
I'm talking about good teachers. I'm talking about qualified teachers. There are no bad teachers. You're saying there are no bad teachers.
All right, gentlemen, go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead.
Coming from a teacher standpoint, when I'm going to speak on my experience. I don't know everybody's individual experience with your teacher. But when I'm dealing with my parents in my 3-year-old classroom, when I come to them and say, ma'am, you said, behavioral and all that stuff, I deal with that.
But all too frequently, what happens here stays here. We are an echo chamber. Too often the politicians talk to the politicians, the teachers talk to the teachers, the clergy talk to the clergy, the police talk to the police. What I don't see is us out there in Silver Lake Park and on the corners talking to these little kids instead of talking about these little kids. So my challenge, I don't want no clapping. No, we ain't got that much time. This is too serious. So thank you, sir. So my challenge and my question is, how do we get out of our own comfort zones and affect some real change? Stop putting yourself on a high horse and putting on Facebook everything you're doing and get your ass out there and do something. That's all I gotta say.
There was a narrative out there that came from power, man, in a place of existing. But we took another narrative that had nothing to do with that, and we put it on ourselves, and now we're trying to look at the people that we're saying are in the power position to fix it. We have to fix it first. There isn't a single community we want to talk about. Okay, real quick on the control of the community. When we talked about the control, I was listening to what she was saying about the walking street bus. So maybe a project for those who want to do the black community control, maybe they can walk these kids to the school bus. Maybe we can walk these church buses until we can get it figured out on the school board high level. It's church buses Monday through Saturdays in the parking lot. Maybe those church buses can take some of the kids to school. I'm thinking if we start really being serious about community control, we can look at what we can do right now while we're waiting for Superman.
We got to move forward together. We may have different issues, but when y'all come back and bring other people, I don't want this foolishness, because that's what my babies in the streets say. We ain't nothing but meeting addicts. We talk, we say the same thing we've been saying. I'm saying, number one, you are not going to reach these children until you reach their mom. I got girls right now that come to me, they can't even fill out applications. They can't read. They don't have a degree. I've been going to Renee and I've been on Grego I don't know how many times. They got an old antiquated law that once a person get a record, they can't volunteer in a school. They can't even be a custodian in a school. Well, you know what? We need to know about that. We need to know about that. If a child is in school, don't tell me it wouldn't make a difference if their mama is working in the cafeteria, in the office, a custodian or something. That kid gonna know they got to be out. All right. Another two, I'm going to the girls on Facebook. They may not like Mama T. I really don't give a damn. Okay?